Got Your Back Podstream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at mrdirk.com. Hope you had a great weekend, everybody, and welcome to Got Your Back Sunday Night Edition. Ryan Rishaug here in the Adrenaline Diesel studio. Jason Strudwick and Rob Brown are going to be joining me, as is Chris Sabunia, our technological wizard from Kelowna. A reminder here in the Adrenaline Diesel studio, if you need a part manufactured, replicated, or repaired, Adrenaline Diesel has you covered with their brand new machine shop. Check it all out at adrenalinediesel.ca. Have a good show in store for you. We were not on postgame last night after the Oilers lost to the Dallas Stars, so look forward to talking to Brownie and to Struds about what happened in that game. Little big picture discussion about where this team is at right now and how you, Oiler fan, might be feeling right now. And also, did you hear Chris Knobloch kind of mention potential changes coming to the power play? If you missed it, we'll let you hear that clip. And then we'll ask the fellas, what changes, if any, personnel-wise, would you make to the power play? Let us know what you think. Ask us anything. We'll be towards the tail end of the podcast, and Zuby will be taking the best comments. So fire your questions, your comments, and Struds and I will get to all of those a little bit later on in the show. As always, the program brought to you by Play Alberta, our title sponsor, the official gaming partner of all the major Alberta teams. Whoever you cheer for, Play Alberta is cheering you on. Bet on your favorites, get in on odds boosts, and make game time more interesting. Deposit today and get a $50 free bet code. GYB10 will get you a $50 free bet with the code GYB10. Visit playalberta.ca. Okay, boys. How's the weekend? Love the Sunday night pods, Struddy. The weekend is gone. We're all settling in, getting ready for the week ahead. How was the weekend, buds?
Yeah, good. Really good. Nice and busy. A lot of kid activities. The Oilers game as well. So, yeah, pretty hectic. So, but you know what? The week doesn't care how your weekend was. It's going to happen tomorrow morning. So, nobody cares. I'll have my half bottle of port tonight. Pour myself into bed and do it all over to tomorrow's a busy day, so no one cares. No one cares.
Never mind the port, Struds. You need the CC18 that's up over my shoulder there on the shelf, but I got to get you a sampler of that. Yeah, I had a hot tub and a little CC18 the other night. Woo-hoo! What a great combo. Brownie, how's you, bud?
Good. It was a good weekend. My son was in town from Vancouver for the last 10 days. This was his last weekend, so went out for a nice dinner on Saturday night after the Oilers game, and just got to enjoy some good family time for the last few days. It was nice.
That's awesome. I'm new to in the last year anyways, having a kid live out of town. Struds, you're still about 13 years away from having to deal with anything like that. But yeah,
I'll be
Brownie, it's a
dead by the
little
time
different when you're
town.
What's that?
I'll be dead before they move out of town.
It's a little different when the kids are living in a different city, Brownie. I've been getting used to that for the last year. And now my stepdaughter, too's in Calgary. Like, changes are coming.
It's hard. I tell you, when my wife and I drove my son to Vancouver, it'd be 4 years ago now. We dropped him off and kissed him goodbye, and then we started driving home, and both of us were looking out each other's windows because we didn't want each other to see us crying as we're leaving our son behind. Then we're thinking, what are we going to talk about now? This is the glue to our family. Oh my God. We're writing down stuff. Okay, tomorrow morning, and we can discuss the weather. Then we can discuss dinner. And then I ran out of things. So, but no, it's hard. It's weird. We have a texting group, me, my wife, and my son. We talk probably about 20, 30 texts every day. So it's, but yeah, no, it's fun when he's home, but it is weird. The first couple of years were really strange when he was out of town.
Struds can't even imagine this. He can't wrap his, he had like 7 ice times in the last 2 days. He can't even wrap his head around it.
Here's one of the highlights of my weekend. I backed over my son's hockey equipment. So I tell them, put it on the side of the stuff. I got it. It was kind of dark when I drove in, it was night. I hit it. I'm like, what the fuck? I jump out. I'm like, what? Whose equipment was this? I just snapped and everyone was asleep, right? Oh God, I was mad. But everything, the equipment's okay. No wonder the hockey equipment, no one gets hurt. Equipment's so good. But God, was I mad about that.
You can back over that stuff and not do any damage. How's your Sunday, everybody? Let us know how your weekend went. What do you do to prepare yourself to have a good week? Maybe let's ask people on the stream that. Let us know what you do. Do you have a Sunday ritual, something you do on a Sunday to make sure that you have a decent week, you set yourself up for a good week? Scotty Knows is in, says, Sunday pod just feels right. We agree, Scotty. We love these Sunday pods, but I think we all probably prepare ourselves for the week ahead. I've got one. I'll share that a little bit later on in the show. Remind me about that, Zuby. But guys, we should talk a little Oilers here, because I think Oiler fan, though they might be a little calmer on this chill Sunday, we're probably pretty pissed on Saturday at about 4:30 Mountain Time. So let's get to breaking down all things Oilers, brought to you by Alberta Ram Dealers. The Cross Canada Clearout is here with the biggest deal of the year. Get 10 grand in discounts on 2024 Ram 1500 DS Warlock. Only at your Alberta Ram dealer. Just a spectacular looking truck inside and out. Okay, gentlemen, here is the stats line. Oilers 2-4, 24 goals against, 12 goals for, 7th in the Pacific, 28th in the league as far as points percentage go. Yet the glass feels like, I wouldn't say half full, Brownie, but it feels like it's maybe filling up a little bit based on the first 35 or 40 minutes yesterday. Then they kind of dumped it back out again. Like, where are you at, bud? Glass empty or glass half full right now? Because it maybe is turning.
I don't think they're playing as well as they can. And I think they're getting a little bit of poor puck luck. I don't think they're as good a team as they were last year. And we've said that many times on the pod. The team that finished the season in Florida was better than the team they have right now. This isn't a finished product. But I do believe, I mean, they were very good in Dallas. And they didn't get rewarded for their good play. And if you let a good team hang around, and Dallas is a really good team, they're going to have their push. And Dallas capitalized. So I'm not doom and gloom. I think this is a good hockey club that needs to play better. And when I say play better, their best players need to play better. Their role players have been fine. Their best players need to play better, and they will. And then the Oilers will start. This is going to be a playoff hockey club. Where they finish in the standings will be depending on health going forward. But I'm glass half full still.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm glass half full as well. I mean, you got to remember, they really started the season, the regular season, like it was the beginning of preseason, and took them a while to go. So if they were playing the first 3 games like they did the last 3, they probably have 1 or 2 more wins, right? So, and fitting in new personnel. I mean, take a look down in Nashville, right? Look at that team. They have a lot of new personnel, and they don't look good at all. You can paint it any way you want. In Vancouver, same thing. Some pretty new personnel in that group, and they aren't quite firing on all cylinders either. So I think that new personnel makes a big difference. They are going the right direction, and I thought yesterday they could have won the game, but they were not able to score. And in the first 2. And then that goal at the end of the second, my God, was that a huge goal for Dallas? Humongous. Because now you're rolling into the intermission like, oh, boys, we got some life. Let's make this happen, right? And bang, they come out and the Oilers couldn't keep pace. So, a couple key games at home this week. But I am half full. I really do believe it. I think, and I like Emberson's game. I think on the third pairing, there might be something there with Emberson.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
You don't
with
agree,
that,
Brownie?
I thought he struggled again. Honestly, I thought Emberson really struggled with the puck on his stick. Yes, I think with the puck on his stick, go back and count the turnovers. He struggles with the puck. If I'm the Oilers, he's out next game and Dermott is in.
Really?
Yeah.
And you're leaving Stetcher in the 2 spot.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they have a lot of options there. So,
but no, they don't.
So, but no, I thought Emberson struggled again with the puck on his stick. I think He's physical. I like that, and he stepped up through a big hit. But I think that when the puck's on his stick, especially playing against teams with speed, there's been a little bit of panic so far. So
yeah, I think,
to me,
he moves well. You don't
I
think
think
he
too.
gets around the ice well? Like, I think you got to give him a chance, right? You got to give him a chance here to get going with the puck. I'll agree there. The mishandling is a bit of a surprise, but I think there's something there. I want to see more of him.
Yeah, I agree, Struds. I think we need to keep in mind he's still in his first 40 games in the league. And when you're breaking a young player in like that on a third pairing, you're probably going to have to live with some mistakes. Now, should they be pulling him when he has bad games or playing him through it? I guess it depends if you think, that Dermott's going to come in and give you that much better a game. But I'd like to see, I think the bones are there of a good player. I think I like the way he skates, actually. And I think he can make good heads-up plays when he's got a little bit of confidence. I think when mistakes start happening, I think his game kind of goes down a bit of a rocky path. He doesn't turn it around right away, like maybe some with more experience might be able to. But I agree with Struds in that I think they've got something there. And if you're bringing along a young defenseman, you're going to have to commit to that at a certain point. What have you thought of Stetcher in that spot? Brownie, you can go ahead and start there first because you talked about making the change, but where are you at with Stetcher and Nurse as the second pairing?
I think Nurse has been much better this year. I think he's playing with aggression. He's playing mean, and I think that's the way he has to play. He looks much more comfortable thus far this year than he did to end last year. So I think that's a positive. I mean, Stetcher's to me is a Band-Aid right now. He's not a number 4 defenseman. He's right now holding a spot. I think Stetcher is a number 6/7, that when you have injuries or you need someone to play in that role, he come in and give you quality minutes. He plays with pace. He's got some. He's not afraid, but he's also. Was it the 2 games ago or last game? He was in front of Forsberg. He's not big enough in front of the net when he starts battling the bigger players. That's always going to be an issue for him. So I think he's been fine, but he is right now just holding a spot for when they can find someone that's a true number 4. Stetcher is not a true number 4 defenseman.
Yeah, Brown, you nailed it. The size is the problem, and it's always been his problem, right? The effort. I think he reads the play pretty well, but he's just too small. Like, how often do you see him kind of go squeeze out in plays that a bigger guy wouldn't happen to? So that's not his fault. He gives you everything he's got. But for now, he's fine in there. But in the playoffs, he can't be your guy there. He's 6, probably best really 7, right? Coming in to spell guys if there's injuries. So, but he is I like him. Like, I want him on the team, but just the size, he just can't compete with those. There's big, imagine you're playing against Buffalo, Tuck, Tage Thompson, all these big forwards, right? Heavy, Jack Eichel, Stone, he is not built to compete with those guys physically. Smarts wise, but not physically.
Well, I mean, strides to go a step further. You talked about certain stars in the league. I mean, you said a Quinn Hughes in the playoffs, how it was going to be tougher for him. He's a Norris Trophy winner. So if you're saying that it gets tougher for a player like that at that stature, who's that good, a Troy Stetcher, I mean, he's not Quinn Hughes. It's going to be tough when you get into the bigger games against the bigger players.
A somewhat bitter-sounding Maverick chimes in and says, meanwhile, Broberg is struggling, only 6 points. How about that Holloway from Broberg? Ooh. Was that yesterday? Holloway was from Broberg yesterday?
Yeah, they're flying. They're flying.
Both guys are flying high, man. Yeah, they've found confidence there. They were ready to take a step, and in the early going here, Philip Broberg he played 21 or 22 minutes in their last game. He's playing the hockey of his life, as he finished last season playing the hockey of his life. He showed everybody something in that series. It's still early, but early returns look like Philip Broberg might not have too many eyebrows raised at that contract by the end of this season. We'll see. We'll sit tight and wait on that a little bit. Guys, just quickly, let's dig into that game a little bit. We won't spend a ton of time on it because it was yesterday and we're talking a little more big picture tonight. I did not like that 1-0 goal. I really didn't like it for a number of reasons. I didn't like how clean Nugent Hopkins lost the draw. I didn't like how clean Stuart Skinner got beat. And Struds, I want to ask you, what was your read on Darnell Nurse not getting into the shooting lane when he clearly had time to get there. Sometimes when the shot's coming from that far away, I think maybe you err on the side of not screening your goalie. And I wondered if maybe that's what he did, but he could have gotten into that shooting lane and did not.
Yeah. So when it's a shot from that far out, if you're going to get in front, you better block it. Because if not, you're screening your goaltender. That's how I
But he
feel.
wasn't screening. He just didn't get into the lane. So he just didn't even try to get into that lane.
That's because it was a pretty far shot. Like, where was he? Above the circles, wasn't he? Top of the circles?
Yeah.
So the one thing he could do is maybe lay down, take away the bottom of the net. But you're standing right in front of your goalie. I mean, I don't think that is really, if anything, he could go out. I guess he could skate out towards the guy in the shooting lane. But to stand, because he'd be standing right in front of his goalie, he's just screening in that moment. So I think he did the right play.
But
just let them see it.
But your point, like with Nurse, it's not his man. That's Hendrik's man. Nurse.
Well, Henrik got bodied.
Nurse, yeah, but he was still. They were both right in front of each other. But yeah, so if Henrik's not getting in front of him, I agree. Then the defenseman gets out of the way. If the forward's not blocking it 5 feet from the blue line, then the defenseman move, because that way, I mean, he's not tying up with anyone. And yeah, Stuart Skinner should have it from that distance. Now, I've only saw one replay, and I don't know if it hit a stick or not. It looked like on the replay I saw it may have ticked a stick. If it didn't, Stuart Skinner has to have that. I mean, that's Matt Duchene. That's a nice shot. He's a 40-goal scorer, but from that distance on a wrist shot, Skinner has to have it if it didn't touch a stick. And the talk about puck luck, Duchene got kicked out of the faceoff. He was supposed to take the draw. He got kicked out, and in goes Rupi Hintz. That is an incredibly hard faceoff to win to where he won it to. Like, he won it the opposite side. Forwards don't do that. I think he shocked Nugent Hopkins by where he pulled it to. But that goal changed the entire hockey game.
But what happened was Henrik tried to jump behind the center, right? And he got bodied.
Yeah, he went right. Late. He went to inside position.
Yeah, well, he was going to try to help pick up the garbage behind, and he got bodied, and he couldn't get back in time. So honestly,
but that's not his.
Are you looking at it right now, Struds?
I looked at it last night because Brownie was challenging me about my boy Henrik.
Oh, he was. Well, if you get a chance, Struds, call it up. I want to know specifically your thoughts on Nurse, because Henrik clearly goes to the inside. Nurse had a chance to take 2 or 3 hard strides left, and he could have gotten to the shooting lane. He stopped skating and sort of.
But if you're getting in front of the shooting lane, 3 feet in front of your goalie, we call that screening. So you got to get, that's a shot from above it was above the top of the circles. And listen, Duchene isn't known as a bomb. I think he's more, and Brownie, I might be wrong, he's a smart shooter. He doesn't have, to me, a bomb. So you're like, okay, well, my goalie should save that from there, is what I'm thinking. Because if you 100%. Get in front, you just screen your goalie. And most goalies said, the ones I played with, from that far out, let me see it clean. I'll take the guy in one-on-one.
And that's what I'm asking. If Nurse made that conscious choice, to just let the shot come through and not step into the lane.
Just screening. We call it a screen, right? And so, Henrik got caught on the wrong side. He couldn't get back out. So, Nurse could, I guess, if, pretty crazy. I guess he could skate out there and try to block that. But now you have guys way out of position, which usually if you're doing someone else's job, no one's doing your job in front.
You got to trust your goaltender, make a save on that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Don't look at Darnell
I'm
Nurse.
not. Yeah. I was more asking, for your expertly opinion, because when I saw it, I thought, okay, he could have got there, but I think sometimes you just want to let your goalie see it, and can't help but think, as you pointed out, that's what Nurse was doing there. The 2-0 goal was a tough look for McDavid. Turnover in the offensive zone. Now on the back check there, Struds, it kind of looked like a 2-on-2. Matthias Ekholm made the decision to try and back up Evan Bouchard on the net drive instead of just taking his man, which made it kind of look like McDavid had nobody in no man's land. So kind of interested on your thoughts there, guys, about where that error was. Was it Ekholm going over to back up Bouchard, who had stumbled, or was it McDavid not pumping the legs hard enough back, Struds?
Brownie, you got to go ahead. We're going to say the same thing.
It was Connor McDavid. He's got it. It's his guy coming back. Because to me, no, Bouchard got beat. Bouchard stumbled. He stumbled, and then bad luck. He's going back full speed. Bad luck. It hits him in the foot, and bounces up in the air. And Marchment's a long man. He gets it and catches it. And then he had a step on Bouchard. So Ekholm's reading that Marchment's going to take it to the net. So as I'm thinking, Ekholm's, well, I'm not going to let him take it. I've got McDavid coming back. He's the fastest player in the league. He's got to get the guy. He's got to come back and take my guy. So I had no problem with Ekholm going across because he felt that Marchment was going to the net. And that at that point, McDavid, if he skates all the way back, he gets in there and takes away the backdoor shooter, Duchesne. So to me, it was on Connor on that one. I think Ekholm made the right play. But I'm a back-checking forward, so.
Yeah. But the greatest.
You're passionate about back-checking.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. And I think that Connor, it's never too late to come back, right? I think what could happen, though, when Ekholm goes over to protect Bouchard, Bouchard's got to change his focus and grab the other guy. I think that he's also so like it's like you're like switch. So you take him, then you can grab the other guy, right?
That's a good point too. Yeah, but
but you know what, though, Struds, I'm just looking at it at Bouchard, because he had stumbled. At no point did he even shoulder check. I don't know if he even knew Ekholm was coming. He was in a foot race, desperate to catch him. I don't know if there's a point there where he should have thought about switching.
Well, if you look
I'm not sure. I'm just watching it again now.
If you see your partner coming across, the partner's got to say switch, right? That's the job of Ekholm. Yeah. Switch. You go, and then, or I'm going, and you step back and go.
But Struds, correct me if I'm wrong, though. Anyone that's back checking, your first responsibility is to the most dangerous player that's on the opposition team. Yeah. So Marchment with the puck on a stick was the most dangerous player. But as soon as Ekholm goes to him, Duchesne becomes the most dangerous player. And nobody went to Duchesne. And I think that's that one there, whether it's Bouchard switching and coming across or McDavid. But to me, it's McDavid can see it. He's watching the whole play. Bouchard has the hardest one because right now he's in full panic mode. He's trying to chase down a guy that's got a step on him. So he's in panic mode. Connor McDavid's the one that can get back and get to Duchesne. So for me, it's 97 should have got back and got a stick on the puck coming across that was going to Duchesne. Because he stopped skating.
But the D-men didn't really communicate, right? They had what I would call duplication. You had Bouchard and Ekholm both on the same guy, and someone's got to call each other off there. Either Bouchard says, like, I got him, or Ekholm says, I got him, and the duplication is what you don't want to see. True. No, I'm guessing there was no communication, or else they couldn't hear each other. Yeah.
And bottom line, I mean, we've seen McDavid on probably a couple too many of these defensive issues in the early going here. And again, he's certainly not the only one. There's lots of guys out there that are struggling with it, but just to have that mindset, right, to just pump the legs a few times. Nobody's faster than him to get back in that situation. So be interesting to see. That they played really well in that game. They were so good for the first 30 minutes, gave up next to nothing, and then to have it ripped away from them because of some goofy little mistakes. I think there's definitely some frustrating learning moments in there for the group, and we'll see how they're able to respond to that. I want to talk about adjustments, guys, and we're going to do that in the next segment. So that was the breakdown brought to you by Alberta Ram Dealers. Struds, let's get to our Relentless player of this Sunday, whoever that might be. Brought to you by UCAN Youth Services. Are you looking to hire entry-level staff for your company? UCAN Youth Services trains youth in pre-employment skills to get them ready, willing, and able to join your team. Check out www.ucan.ca for more information. Struds, who are you going on this off day Sunday for Relentless player?
Kyle Connor, 5-game point streak. This guy has goals in 3 games. He is one of the more underrated elite level shooters in the NHL. So big man's on fire. Little guy, not the biggest guy, but anyways, 3-game goal streak, 5 points, 5-game point streak, I should say. So Kyle's my guy.
Jets, the only unbeaten team in the league this year. Remember, the Oilers smacked headlong into them to start the year. That was not, that was for real, Brownie. Like, that Winnipeg team's for real.
They are good. They're good. And tonight they played their backup. Comrie played tonight. So Hellebuck got a night off. The Jets are a very good hockey club. I think last year in the playoffs, their goaltender struggled, which is shocking for anything that could happen to that team. Their goaltender struggled. I do believe in the Winnipeg Jets. I think they've got a very good hockey club. I do believe they need to make an addition on the back end at the deadline, but I think a lot of teams need the same thing. But yeah, they're for real nuts. And I do like Kyle Connor. He's a fun player to watch. He's like, remember the old Nintendo game? They had the big, the medium, and the little guy. And the little guy that could fly all over the place. That's what Kyle Connor reminds me of.
Yeah. Ray and Dregs had Dylan Gunther on the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast last week, and we was talking about players that he modeled his game after. Kyle Connor was one of the names that he brought up. He brought up a few different players, but talked a little bit about that guy with that shot and smaller player, similar stature. So, yeah, Jets off to a great start. Zuby, why don't you hop in here, buddy? I put it in your court, the ball in your court, the DeBoer's YouTube poll tonight, and I think you might have gone a little off the board, which, yeah, people probably appreciate on a night like tonight. Helping you play better golf since 1999 with their TrackMan fitting bays, instruction, after-sales support, golf merchandise, and clothing. Check out their Pro Shop-style atmosphere at 5311 99th Street in Edmonton. You guys will both be thrilled to know that I got 36 holes in the sim today. 36 holes after a good 20-minute warm-up.
36 holes, 22 steps. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's the same joke you made last time.
It's still good.
You gotta
It's
come
still
up with
good.
a different joke. Can't recycle that.
That's a perfect lead in, and you didn't know what I was doing for the poll tonight, but you just gave me a nice little lead into it anyway. So the poll question tonight, a little off the board. I haven't put it live yet for people to vote yet because I thought I'm going to bring it up here. We'll chat about it for a minute, let people have a little bit of thought about it before they cast their vote. So this is going to be the question: which got your back fan experience would you bid on at an auction? Okay. These are the four choices. Play around in the sim with Shogger. So that's one choice. A subway run with Struddy. But there's a caveat on that one. You're buying. You're the one. If you're taking Struddy to Subway, you're buying.
Absolutely.
One wild night at Brownie's cabin. And the fourth choice is tankards at Brewhouse with Zuby and Steve. So those are going to be the four choices tonight. I don't. You can't pick your own, or maybe you guys want to talk up why people should pick your fan experience.
I mean, it's winter golf, and it's not those other two. So enough said.
Well, we wouldn't be doing mine in the winter. We'd be doing mine in the summer. After surfing behind the boat, we'd have our happy hour for 6 hours, and then we'd have a fire, and we'd make some s'mores over the fire, and we would drink. Well, I don't. My buddies all drink whiskey. I find something else to drink, and we tell stories until about 2, 3 in the morning. Get up and do it again.
Yeah, mine isn't that fun. Don't vote for me. I wouldn't. No, I'm not even. I honestly don't. I would choose any of the other three over mine. I'm not even gonna make a case for mine. Mine sucks. It's not. Maybe if you have an idea, if you want to post, you want to sell something, we could work on that together. Maybe that would
you could build shelves together. Build shelves.
Yeah,
together.
that might be. But the Subway, I don't know. I mean, sit there and have a sub, share a cookie.
Some stranger comes in and says, no, I'm taking Struddy for faux or fa or whatever. Now that would be something.
Yeah.
There was
Struddy fired up.
Another good one too. JL says he's picking going to Subway with Struds, but trying to order sushi.
Yeah. Davin is wondering if we're going to take a hot tub after. I'm sure he's talking about golf simulator and a hot tub. I will add that to my.
Oh boy.
I will add that to my prize.
Well,
package.
that actually turned me off now. I don't want to do yours anymore.
Shogger wears a wetsuit. Everyone should know it. Shogger wears a wetsuit in the hot tub. Safety first.
T-shirt, white T-shirt. Michael Begayan says, great to finally catch the live stream since I live out east. Love the Got Your Back podcast. Love the insight and observations. You guys are funny too. Wow. Thank you for the compliment, Michael. And thank you for joining us. Yeah, all of us equally funny.
You didn't say you guy. That one guy's funny. Read it again.
That would actually be a good poll one night, Zuby. Who's the funniest guy on the show?
Oh my goodness!
Let's throw that in. Let's save that for next Sunday night, buddy. Sunday night, and we'll all try and be hilarious all week.
Yeah, just be night at the what do they call it? All week long is going to be Yes, thank you. No, it wasn't even the one I was thinking of, but that helped get it across the finish line.
That's like comparing Wayne Gretzky points totals to mine. It would be just an absolute disaster for some people on this pod.
Yeah, but Struds, this is the thing, man. Not everybody laughs with you every time you laugh at your own material. Like, you laugh at your material more than anybody else.
Rodney Dangerfield laughed at all of his own stuff. Yeah, I get no respect.
That wasn't bad. That was not terrible. Quick, follow it up with Macho
terrible.
Man.
That was
Macho
terrible.
Man.
That sounded nothing like Rodney Dangerfield.
Macho
That
Man.
sounded like Struds.
Hey, my mama didn't want me to have didn't breastfeed me. She wanted me to have a platonic relationship with her.
No, you lost it.
That's the same thing. That just sounds the same.
Now you just sound creepy.
Can't get no respect. Get no respect.
You sound like
What's atomic?
if people watch The Office, Struddy sounds like right now you doing Michael Scott's impression of Rodney Dangerfield.
Now that's funny.
Yeah.
Ronnie Oceanfront, great handle, by the way. Ronnie Oceanfront says, could you imagine playing an entire round in a golf sim with Ryan Rishaug? I'm not sure how to take that, Ronnie Oceanfront.
I don't think it was a
Ronnie?
positive. I don't think it was a positive by Ronnie. No.
I'm taking that at face value. It's amazing.
Stop
Bud.
every 4
It's
holes for
absolutely amazing.
backstretch.
Okay, that's it. Let's get it back on the rails next segment. Talk some tactics, talk some changes. Takeaways is coming up. This has Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
Zuby, you ever notice how the music kind of double punches on the way back in out of break? You notice
Does
that?
it?
It's kind of like dint it, dint it, dint it. Like it hits it, like it skips or something. You notice that?
Nope. But I'll listen to it in the when I
Am
go
I
back.
the only
through
one that heard that? Anyway,
I hear it.
Do
I
you?
just don't say
Not to-
anything. Too kind.
not to put you on the spot or anything.
Well, there's a couple little audio when new audio comes in sometimes in this new system. There could be a little snag sometimes when it transitions.
Yeah.
I haven't heard
It's
it on the
snagging.
song.
Yeah, Jacob says, I do. Yes, it's annoying. So Jacob being a little hard on you there. Sorry, I mean, we shouldn't do our technical run through here.
We
out of
produce
break,
on the
but
fly. It's cool.
I keep forgetting to mention it between pots.
Well, now's a
Let's
good
get to takeaways. Brought to you by Horizon Ag and Turf. They're your local John Deere dealer across central Alberta. You can find them in Falaire, High Prairie, Barhead, Westlock, Mayerthorpe, Edmonton, Warburg, Wetaskiwin, St. Paul, Vermilion, Lloyd. Oh, they're right in the heart of it. They're everywhere. Plus online at horizonagturf.com. Visit them for all of your equipment needs. That's unreal how many locations they've got. Horizon Ag and Turf. Okay, guys, going to get to the Weiss Johnson soundbox here because Chris Knobloch was asked after the last game about the power play specifically, kind of alluded to some potential changes.
Besides putting the puck in the net, I'm sure there's, we'll evaluate it and we'll look at it. We're at the point where we got to be considering about making some adjustments to it just because, there's times of every power play is going to go through a stretch of not scoring. But we've gone 6 games in now, and we're 1 for 15, and I'm not sure we do it right away, but it's certainly something that's on our minds.
Okay, consider making some changes to it. Now, that could mean you go stand over there and you go stand over there, or it could mean new players on it. Brownie, what's your gut say when you hear the coach say that in the Weiss Johnson sound box? Do you think we'll see personnel tweaks, or is that more alluding to tactical tweaks?
Well, I think he's alluding to personnel tweaks. I mean, they really don't stand in the same spot on the ice anyways. They move all over the place. So to me, I think he's talking personnel tweaks. I personally wouldn't tweak the personnel, but what I would do is I'd give some looks to the second unit. The first unit hasn't got it done. And really not a whole lot of urgency needed on their power play because they know they're playing the full 2 minutes. So it's not like in the first 40 seconds, we got to start putting pucks on net. We got to have some desperation because they know they have 2 full minutes because they don't come off the power play. There was a power play against, I think it was in the Dallas game, where at 1:04, they had nothing going. And with 1:04 left in the power play, the whistle went. Perfect time right there to switch, put the second unit out. Second unit has scored 2 goals, albeit right after the power play ended, but they have scored goals. And you've got a couple guys that have scored 40 and 50 goals on the second unit in Skinner and Perry, and Arvidsson, who's got 30 a couple times. So to me, I wouldn't change who's on the power play units, but I would give the second unit some ice time. Let them go out and do it and see if they can get something done, a spark. And also, that if the first unit knows, all right, second unit's coming out, maybe there'll be more urgency in the first minute of the power play. Struds?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. I can't remember who made that point for the last 3 years, but so like
we have our first coffee spit of the year. Brownie just spit something out.
I'm not sure. Anyways, let's not think about who did that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do something really extreme, only to shake it up a lot, and then to bring them back later. So I'm making two equal power play units. Here we go. Get your pens out.
Oh, no.
Nuge, okay. McDavid, Hyman, Henrique, and Bouchard. Second unit, Skin.
Oh, wait a second. You're taking the 100-point guy, the 50-goal scorer 3 times in a row off of the number 1 unit and putting your best friend Adam Henrique on it instead.
So just let me finish it. Hold on. So 93, 97, 18, Henrique, and Bouchard. Second unit, Skinner, Draisaitl, Arvidsson, Perry, and then either one, Ekholm or Nurse. I'm not really. This is why though. This is why I'm breaking them up, and I'm open to other shuffles. If you want to move Skinner on the first unit, and that's fair, Brownie. Maybe to shake it up a bit more so it doesn't feel like it's just Draisaitl. So let's make that change. Put Arvidsson on the first unit, bring Hyman back. That's a fair point. So you have a bit of everyone. And you each get a minute. You each get just for a couple games. And then when things are looking really desperate, you put them back together. And I think that they're like, okay, this does work and we have to work together. So that's my ideas. And again, the personnel aren't such a big deal. It's to make 2 equal units, give them each a minute, and then after a couple games, bring them back. Thoughts?
Okay. I will play the referee here with this. So Brownie, I'm a little bit more leaning towards you, less drastic this early on. So I think I agree with you that by basically letting them know, look, buck 20 and you're off, that there's going to be less opportunity out there. Hopefully they'll work a little harder with what they have, be a little smarter with what they have, and have a little bit more sense of urgency with what they have instead of feeling like, it's going to be 2 minutes. We still got another 40 seconds left, right? Leave it all out there in a minute 20. Struds, I don't hate your idea, Struds, but I feel like that's maybe the next phase. I'm not sure that they're there yet for that dramatic a switch, Struds. What would your case be for skipping what Brownie's suggesting, because they haven't done that, Struds, and you've been suggesting that for a long time. But isn't now more than ever the time to actually do that instead of dramatic change?
Yeah, and that's a fair point. But the problem is I can't propose something I've been proposing for the last 3 years, right? I can't just bring it up.
You should be beating your chest louder
I got
than
a
you're
new
willing
idea.
to.
No, I know. And I was already right, so I can't be right again. Like, it's like at some point you have to just say, I got to go to the next phase. So again, guys, what I'm proposing is very dramatic. But Brownie, you were on the power play. So this is my idea. Again, let's not get bogged down on exactly which one, but I would split that first unit up 2 and 3 or 3 and 2, whatever. And the idea is to really shock them. And then they get uncomfortable. They get uncomfortable with what they're doing. And then at some point bring them back together again. To get them going.
Yeah. They're never taking Leon off the first power play unit. Ever.
So
they might. No, they're never going to do that. So you're going to tell Connor McDavid for the first power play unit, we're going to start with Leon's con. You're going to sit on the bench because Leon's unit's going out there. It's never going to happen.
Well,
if you want to flip, I understand that, but they're also the best over the last 5 years in the history of the National Hockey League. So they probably have a little bit more grace period than 6 games. If they do anything, they will probably flip-flop Nugent Hopkins and Skinner, something along that line. I mean, to pull Hyman off, he just stands in front of the net. He doesn't touch the puck anyways. So to me, if anything happens, it would be Skinner switching with Nugent Hopkins, and that would be the shock value right there because Nugent Hopkins has been a mainstay for 5 years. But you're not splitting up Leon and Connor because that means one of them won't be on the ice to start a power play, and that's never going to happen in this team.
But I think that's the point. I think that's the point, though, to say, hey, guys, like this is where we have to get to. Like we're not, because it's not getting done right now, right? And I agree, they've been amazing.
It's 6 games, but it's 6 games into a season. You know what? Dallas is terrible this year. They were 5th or 6th in the NHL last year. Their power play's been horrible. So has the Tampa Bay Lightning, which was 1st last year. Their power play's been horrible. It's early in the season. Their power play will figure it out. They'll get a little bit of puck luck, and things will be a lot better. But to me, I would start first, shorten the first unit's amount of ice time. And you know what? In a game where they're not playing well, start the second unit. And I've said that. I've agreed with you. Start the second unit. They all can play. Those guys are pretty good, Skinner and Perry and Arvidsson. Give them a shot. That'll shock the number 1 unit when all of a sudden the first power play and they're like, oh, no, come back here, guys. Sit here for 1 second. We're going to start the second unit. I think that's a bigger shock, and I think that would make more sense.
Yeah. Struds?
Yeah, listen, I Brownie's on a lot of power plays. And I know it's so. What I'm saying is pretty dramatic. Maybe we agree that on Tuesday, the second power play starts the first power play.
100%. Hey, I agree with that.
Guys, you know what? We at some point there's got to be results based, and I know that they're elite players, and I know they're probably going to get back on track. But right now in this window, they're not scoring, and that does make a difference on the pressure you're putting on a struggling penalty kill as well. Right? It'd be one thing the penalty kill was on fire. It isn't. It's the penalty power play isn't on fire either. So you're kind of like taking it off of both sides, right? So it's a challenge. I'll be interested to see what he does.
I will make a prediction here, guys. I believe if any personnel has changed, it's Hyman and not Nugent Hopkins. And I think, like I said to you earlier on in preseason, my initial instinct would have been Arvidsson for Hyman on the second half of the power plays. But because Skinner has had the start that he's had and has played as well as he's played, I could see it potentially being that, although it's a different role and it's a different type of player. I do not think Nugent Hopkins is moving. I do not think Nugent Hopkins is moving off that power play, guys. Every entry flows through Ryan Nugent Hopkins and those sure hands, and I don't think they're changing that.
Well, I wouldn't change any of it, and that's my point. I would keep the exact same 5 because they know where it's going to be. But if I was going to take Hyman off, it wouldn't be Skinner and it wouldn't be Arvidsson. It would be Corey Perry that would go on the ice because he's the guy that knows exactly how Hyman plays in front of the net. So that's who would go into the first unit if you took Hyman off. But I wouldn't change anything. I would just use the second unit more.
Yeah. Yeah, my gut is that's what we're going to see. That we'll just see the first unit told to come off quicker. The second unit maybe starts the odd one. Maybe we'll see some new wrinkles. But this unit has been too good for too long. And I know, Struds, what you were suggesting was short term. You know, the idea being they all end up back together where they belong, but after a real firm shot across the bow. How about an even strength, guys? Is it time for 97 and 29 to get separated again and to even out the lines again? Has that kind of run its course, Struds? What do you think?
Yeah, I didn't like it when he put them together in the first game. You know, I think that's a mistake. Give things a chance, right? We're giving the power play here, who has been good, no doubt, a long leash here. So I would suggest I would split them back up. I would never probably put them together again, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I would go back with the lines that I thought were going to be the lines this year. I put Arvidsson, Skinner, and Draisaitl together. That was supposed to be your second line. You really didn't give them a whole lot of looks. They didn't see much each other in the preseason. Give them a runway. Let them go. See what they're capable of doing. Skinner is playing much better than we saw in the preseason. Arvidsson is a little worker bee. Let's see what they can do.
I can't help but wonder if, like, the combination of Henrique and Skinner to get together has been really good, and they've been one of the most consistent lines, and so you don't want to mess with it. But at the same time, if Skinner's game is going to be this good, I can understand wanting to drop him back next to one of those two big guys. My thought is we see Nugent Hopkins with Draisaitl and Skinner. Now that he's playing the way he is, maybe get a look with Connor McDavid. But we'll see. Maybe a little shift there. We'll have to wait and see. One more time to the Weiss Johnson Soundbox here, guys. The winter is coming. Hockey season is here. It's time for a new furnace, garage heater, or hot water tank, and Weiss Johnson's there for all your home comfort needs, specializing in servicing your existing systems or installing new ones. Get ready to be cozy this hockey season. Visit Weiss-Johnson.com today.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Zach Hyman is as snake bit as it comes. No points so far this season. Was asked post-game about the lack of offense, not just by him, but by the group.
I think we're pretty process-oriented, so we keep going there. I think we keep getting those chances around the net, they're going to eventually fall. So we can't get frustrated. Just have to keep going there, and they'll go in.
All right, that was Takeaways, brought to you by Horizon Ag and Turf. When we come back, Brownie points. Struddy's World, and Ask Us Anything as well. Stick around. You've got her locked on to Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolanddentistry.com.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
Lots of injuries in the NFL today.
Yes. Oh, some ugly ones too.
You know and love that music. Time for Brownie Points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Their world-famous jerky located right here in Alberta using prime Alberta beef. Available in 14 tantalizing flavors, including that amazing sweet and spicy that went to the International Space Station. Hop on to albertajerky.com to order yours. Enter the code GOTYOURBACK, and that will get you 10% off. I feel like Brownie might have added some late minuses to Brownie Points for Struds. Maybe I feel like you're picking up a late minus here, Struddy.
No,
right.
this is
Don't be
all
emotional.
planned earlier. I got my first one, 176 Brownie Points to Philadelphia Eagle running back Barkley, who ran for 176 yards against his old team and Strud's favorite team as they thrashed the New York Giants 28-3 today. So good for Barkley. Wonderful day for him. I've got minus 44 Brownie Points to the Edmonton Oilers special teams. Last year, they combined power play and penalty killing to be 106, 26%. Power play, 79% penalty kill. This year, they are 62%. 6% on the power play, 61%. 66% on the power play, 55 on the penalty kill for minus 44 as opposed to last year. So it has not been good for the specialty teams. I got 10 Brownie points to New York Devils' Nico Hischier. 2 goals in 10 seconds the other night. Just to give you a little bit of context, there are 3 Oilers that have 2 goals or more all season long. Nico got him in 10 seconds against the Washington Capitals. I've got minus 8 Brownie points to the Edmonton Oilers' next 5 opponents. They are 8 games under 500. They are 9-17, the 5 teams the Oilers are going to play in the next 5 games. The Oilers have 2 wins this year. The teams that they beat have a combined 1 win in 10 games. They have not beat one of the better teams yet this year. They are going to play 5 teams. Not one of them is over 500 in this next little stretch. If the Edmonton Oilers are going to want to find their way back into the moving up in the standings, these are the teams that do it against. And finally, I don't do this very often, but I'm so proud as a father right now. 95 Brownie points to my son, Ben Brown. He had 95 seconds of screen time on CBS show Fire Country on Friday night. The whole Brown family, the whole Brown family got the popcorn out and watched my son on Fire Country. He got his acting TV start playing the part of a alumni of the Jason Strudwick defensive camp at the Jason Strudwick roast. He's been going on fire since then, but yes, we watched him the other night, Fire Country. It's a show on CBS. He was in a pub. The helicopter crashed into the pub. He was sliced open. Fortunately, there was a wedding next door. The bride, who wasn't sure about if she wanted to get married or not, took the opportunity of the helicopter crash to run to the pub in her wedding dress and triage my son's arms. So
did he have lines, Brownie?
For you.
Did he have lines?
Yeah, he had 6 lines, and at the very end, if you wait and watch the very end, it goes, Nerdy Man Ben Brown. He played Nerdy Man in Fire Country. Proud moment for the Brown family.
That is sensational. I can only imagine. I mean, I've watched my kid be on the news on TV, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's different than being an actor and getting a part in something, and it's on. That's a big deal. That's awesome.
It was pretty
Brownie.
cool. We were pretty excited about it, yes.
Brownie, are you sure that was the line? I saw the show. I thought it said, "These pretzels are making me thirsty." You guys remember that from Seinfeld?
What? No.
You don't remember that line from Seinfeld?
I remember.
These pretzels are making me thirsty. It's one of the funniest.
Struddy. Can't you say congrats, hey? Can't you say congrats, Brownie?
No, Ben chirped me for like a long time. I don't like Ben. The whole Brown family, actually, I don't enjoy. Ben roasted me so bad at my roast, and I thought he was this nice kid. He was just chirping the hell out of me.
Oh, you should have seen it, Shogger. So I had to speak at his roast. So what I did is I made a video, and it was my son. I dressed him up in a Jason Strudwick defensive camp sweater, and I did all the things that you learned at Jason Strudwick's hockey school. You learned how to open the bench, open the door for the good players, how to shoot the puck off the glass and out, how to choose the popcorn when sitting in the press box, like all kinds of stuff like that.
That's
never
fantastic.
liked Ben since then.
Wow. I'm right with you, Brownie. I'm proud of him. That's awesome, buddy.
Well,
even
thank you.
Even if
Very
Uncle
cool.
Struddy can't ever be pleased.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
Ronnie Oceanfront wants to throw in minus 1,000 to Shogger for thinking someone would play around in his golf sim with him.
Oh, jeez.
Ronnie Oceanfront is all over me tonight.
That is harsh.
Wow.
That's rough. That's rough.
Goodness sakes.
And to be fair, you didn't. I made the poll. I had no input. There was no input from the higher ups here, just for fun.
Okay. I love it. Okay, let's move on. Roll it, Zuby, because it is time for Struddy's World.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Gotta look good.
I think it just did it again. Did it just do it again, Zuby? Did you hear it that time?
No, I don't hear it, but I'll listen back to it. It must be part of it's the transition from the piece that plays sound to starting the music. I don't know why, but that's obviously where it's happening.
Oh, whatever. Not a big deal. We'll get it figured out.
Yeah.
Time out for Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. They've got locations in Calgary and in Edmonton. If you're a homeowner, a contractor, or a builder, DLR is the most reliable source for vinyl fence. Opened in 2005, going strong, unmatched service, high-quality North American-made products. Visit dlrvinylproducts.ca. That is my brother Rob, who has a hole-in-one, running the branch in Calgary, and brother Rick runs the branch here in Edmonton. Struddy, take us on a journey, buddy.
I get emotional in movies. I really do. Now, not the movies you'd think, right? Like The Notebook or something like that. When I watch Rudy, and Rudy gets on that field at the end, I tear up. When I watch Rocky IV, and I see the way that Rocky competes and how sad he was when his buddy Apollo Creed dies, I tear up. That whole thing gets me going. But there's one movie that rules them all when it comes to emotion. It's a very specific scene. It's the third movie of the trilogy, Lord of the Rings. At the very end, I don't want to ruin it if you haven't seen it, but the good guys win. And it's because of the hobbits, these 4 hobbits. So at the same time, the king gets his crown. He walks out to see his 4 buddies, and they go to kneel. No, we kneel for you. You don't kneel for us. And everyone starts kneeling. There's a little hobbit standing there. Guys, I'm a baby. I'm tearing up like crazy. For him to recognize in that moment what those 4 hobbits did for them, if you don't tear up for that, I don't know what you are. Now, I do love the Lord of the Rings movies, but that to me is one of the most emotional parts of any movie I've ever watched. The final scene, one of the final scenes of Lord of the Rings, where everyone, including the king, bends the knee to these 4 hobbits led by Frodo Baggins. That's it. No response.
First of all,
I just went and saw Wild Robot the other day with my daughter, and I teared up in Wild Robot. It was really emotional.
Is it good?
Very good. It's very good. Excellent. My daughter watches every kid movie that comes out, so we go to opening night. We did go to see that. It was very, very good. Should we kneel to you? Is that what you're asking? Are we the hobbits because you're the tall guy?
No, I've never done anything good in my life that deserves to be knelt down to. Like, let's be honest.
I would not have had you pegged as a Lord of the Rings guy at all. Like that stuns me.
Oh, I love Lord of the Rings. Do you, Shogger? Love Lord of the Rings. Although I have to watch the movies. The books were too hard to read because the names are so weird. I had to keep going back to the front to see who each other was. But I do love the movies.
Yeah. No, I found they were a little too, I don't know. I have trouble, like same thing with sort of Harry Potter type stuff as well. Stuff that is for kids, fundamentally made for kids. I find it, I don't enjoy those as much, but it's not that I reject that realm. Like Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, similar worlds and ideas, but more geared to adults with storylines and such, I do way better with. I find the ones that are fundamentally more geared towards the kids, I just don't jam with quite as much. And that's what Lord of the Rings was, I believe.
Huh. I loved all the Harry Potters, read all the books, watched all the movies. I loved all those too.
Yeah.
Who says Lord of the Rings geared to kids?
Shogger did.
I don't know.
Oh, that
like
way.
like late teens, 16 to 23-year-old kind of thing.
That's a whole conversation for another day. But I think the biggest disservice, they made 3 movies out of The Hobbit and only 3 movies out of Lord of the Rings. There should have been 6 at least. And I've had this discussion with other Lord of the Ring nerds, and most people agree. The Lord of the Rings trilogy shouldn't have been a trilogy. It should be 5 or 6. There's so much to cover.
What would that be, a sixergy?
I'm not sure what the word is.
You can make it up. No one else knows. We'll believe you.
Double trilogies. So do you do other sci-fi struts? Like, did you do Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I love Game of Thrones. Yeah, Harry Potter. I liked it. I like Brownie. I read the book. It was good, but I don't know. I just love that whole idea. Like, I'm into that whole.
What about Fantastic Beasts? What about those spin-offs?
Yeah, I did watch them. Yeah, I'm into it. Like, I'm not against any of it,
Really?
right? Like, I think I just want to just get away from my real world, trying to run it. No, just kidding.
Well, For anybody that hasn't seen Lord of the Rings, bring your Kleenex box. By the way, Struds, anybody who wants to see it has already seen it. You're not ruining it. You're not spoiling anything for anybody. Anybody who wants to see it.
Go in and ruin it for anyone.
Yeah. Well, a little look at Struddy's softer side tonight in Struddy's world. Thank you for being vulnerable, Struddy. We always love that here on the podcast.
Opening up,
Struddy's
boys.
World brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Brownie, that's the end of you tonight, buddy. You are free, my friend.
See you later. You guys have fun. I'm gonna go watch Lord of the Rings. I'm gonna go watch that part right now. Yep.
Yeah.
You shall not pass. Like, Gandalf the Grey. Love it.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Struddy, try and emotionally regroup real quick because you got a scoreboard to do, buddy. Let's get to our scoreboard before Ask Us Anything. Brought to you by Canadian Club in honor of the founding year of the Canadian Club Distillery, 1858. The all-new Canadian Club Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in at a whopping 58% ABV for all you whiskey connoisseurs out there. Their highest proof Canadian Club Classic to date, full-bodied whiskey, aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, rich oak, butterscotch finish that is so smooth. Dug into the bottle the other night. Just a wonderful sipper. Awesome, awesome stuff. Struds, what do you got tonight, bud?
Light schedule in the
JL has a request. Can you do the scoreboard as Rodney Dangerfield?
That's funny. That's funny. So light schedule today in the NHL. Start outside the division. The Penguins lose to the Jets 6-3. The Jets remain undefeated here through the early part of the season. Then you got the Avalanche. This one just wrapped up 4-1 over the Sharks. The Avalanche are trying to get some traction. They got so many injuries on that team. And then we got Landeskog, Kushkin, although he's back skating in Colorado.
Drouin
so
just got put on injured too. Hey,
who did?
Drouin. They just put Drouin on it as well.
He was out though. He had been out since the first game of the year. So yeah, he's on IR. Yeah. And then a game that was 0-0 after 2 periods ends up 4-1. The Kings beat the Ducks. So the Kings kind of get what they need to get themselves going. So light night, but the Avalanche and Kings winning does have an impact on the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, the Colorado Avalanche grab one in the win column, and the Nashville Predators, man, still 0-5. Not even a point. 5 straight up losses. They got nothing so far. What a mess so far after. Ferraro put it really well on his pod the other day. He said quite often teams that win the offseason have trouble out of the gate. And the Predators are one of those teams that people felt won the offseason, and they've struggled out of the gate here, Streds.
Yeah, it's been tough. It's been, like I said, 2 huge pieces up front and then Brady Shea on the back. Like that's a lot of minutes you got to work in and around other guys, right? And how do we fit together? What looks right? And so I think that ultimately we'll figure it out, but right now it is not figured out at all.
All right, that was our scoreboard brought to you by Canadian Club. Let's get to Ask Us Anything. Great conversations going on in our YouTube stream and Twitter stream. So Zuby's going to hop on in here. Mortgages by Maria brings us Ask Us Anything, whether you're looking to lower your monthly payments, shorten your loan term, or just want to understand your options. Maria Gallus with Maximal Mortgages has got you covered. If you need any mortgage work done right now, give her a call. Please do. Contact her, mortgagesbymaria.ca. Tell her that Got Your Back sent ya. She would love to hear from ya. But with things changing, with interest rates and such, always worth at least a conversation. So even if you have any questions, need any advice, give Maria a call. Check her out. Zuby, the now world famous Zuby, apparently, Chris, rumor has it that you are regularly getting recognized in coffee shops and on the streets around Kelowna since we've given you the honor of being in the big box.
That wasn't me, though. That was Steve. Steve was the one who actually got recognized. I've a guy at the driving range recognized me, and a guy I was playing hockey against recognized my name on my jersey. I'm against names on beer league jerseys, by the way, but my team did it anyway. But no, Steve said he got recognized. Yeah, at a coffee shop or at Save On or something. So that's pretty awesome. I'm sure next time he's on, he'll have a good story to tell. I'm quite certain if it ever happens to me, I always think it's going to be across the Costco parking lot. Zuby! I think that's where I would get recognized for sure.
Well, just make sure your head fits through the door, big guy.
Yeah, exactly. But being in the big box is nice. It gives us a little bit of a little more face time. Okay, let's get to some of the questions here. Phil Bowden says, ask us anything. Do you feel any differently about the summer offer sheets after watching Broberg in particular having early success in St. Louis? Is your opinion changed about what the Oilers, critically of what they did or what they should have done?
Well, it's easy to look back and say they should have done something different. Like I just don't. At the time, I felt it was hard to see two fast, good young players leave. Right, youth, young players are important, and what Broberg did, but they didn't have the salary cap space. Where do you go? Who would have been out if you keep those guys? So, can you look back and say the order in which they signed people or didn't sign people was wrong? Well, yeah, that's probably a fair comment, but I don't think any of us thought that those guys leaving was a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think, Struds, you may or may not recall it this same way, but I was more ready to bet on Broberg than you were, given what we saw out of him in the playoffs and in the Stanley Cup final. I really felt that when a player stepped in and showed you that on the game's biggest stage, that's a player you probably need to consider betting on. So I think I would have been okay with them moving CC and maybe one other body in an effort to keep Broberg. That contract didn't scare me quite as much, but I'm not going to, play hindsight and say that I was slamming my fist on the table saying they can't let this guy go. So, I won't be that hindsight 2020 guy. But bottom line, the mistakes with both these players were made while they were still property of the Edmonton Oilers. And they need to not make those mistakes with future high-end prospects.
And credit to you, because you were right. And I was a little bit more like, hey, it's a month of good hockey, right? Is that can continue on? It's continued on. So you were definitely right.
We'll see where he's at in 3 months, right? When it stiffens up, we'll see where he's at. He's got to sustain it, right? He's shown he can have good spurts. Taking the step at $5 million is having 4 good months. So we'll see.
And a few mentions on the stream tonight as well about Kesselring and Puljujarvi, who are both having an impact. That's going a couple years back, but both players having an impact.
He scored a beauty. Hey, you see that Kesselring goal?
Yeah.
Zuby, did you see it?
Yeah.
I heard about. No, I didn't actually see it. I saw he scored the OT goal.
Yeah, he was out there on the power play in overtime, 4-on-3, and then I think it just goes out and Puljujarvi's. I think he's got 5 or 6 points, right? Playing with the big guy, Malkin.
Okay, Stealth Legends wants to know, what is your guys' opinion on Podkolzin, and was it wrong to put him in the top 6?
He is not a top 6 player right now offensively. I think he's being physical and he gets around pretty well on the ice, but he doesn't make plays right now. He doesn't. So will he be able to? Maybe, but no, I don't see him as a top 6 player.
Love the physicality, love the physical energy. He was put in the top 6 strictly because there weren't any options, right? Skinner was not good coming out of preseason. They felt they needed to make some sort of a move, but they don't have the depth they had before. They had no Dylan Holloway. They had no Warren Fogle. They had no Ryan McLeod. They had nobody beating down the door. That would have involved moving Adam Henrique up, and now you're pooched at third line center. So it's because they're missing that next layer of depth. Fourth line player, good fourth line player, love the physicality.
Okay, David W. says, Stu Skinner has allowed quite a few ugly goals in so many games this regular season the Oilers have played. That said, the timely lack of scoring hasn't helped very much. Someone else, I'm kind of bringing this one in. There have been a few mentions of the goaltending bigger picture, and that it maybe is just kind of a mentioned as like, oh, the goaltending's not that great, and we move on. Is that because what can be done? Like, these are the guys, right? Why do you think the goaltending is maybe not being focused on as a bigger issue?
Because I think the play in front of him hasn't been great yet, right? It's getting better, but I don't know that the other day he gets them to basically the end of the second period, 0-0 in Dallas against a pretty good team. And then, we can debate that.
No shots.
I know, but still he gets them there. And then Andre played well. But I just don't see them moving on or trying to move on from a guy who's played as many playoff series as he has in the last couple of years. So this is the duo. I believe this is the duo.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. This is the duo, but the reason we haven't focused on the goaltending is because the whole house is on fire. But some of these fires are starting to get put out. So overall team play is getting a little bit better. The big guys starting to contribute a little bit more. We'll see what happens with special teams. It's coming. It's coming. Because if the rest of the team game improves and Skinner's doesn't, that's when the focus will be. But when everything's burning, it's hard to focus on one thing. But I agree. I don't think his play has been good enough this year. It's not the biggest issue that they have, but he needs to get better, just like the rest of the group.
Okay, a couple of comments I'm going to put together here on the power play conversation that we had. JL says, just leave 97 and 29 on for 2 full minutes and switch out the rest. I think that's an idea maybe we've talked about here before, but maybe you could comment on that also. Ronnie Oceanfront saying on the power play, is this something that could be sorted out in the video room with a new strategy? It seems like teams have it figured out, and there's a lot of comment on that as well, that it's like either they're going to Draisaitl or they're going to Bouchard. They've got 2 plays, and they seem to be well scouted nowadays.
Yeah, Struds, one of the things I'll say, like they'll huddle with Glenn Gulletson, and every once in a while we'll see a few new looks, a few new wrinkles. We'll see some things that are a little bit different. I'd say so far in the early going, we haven't seen a lot in the way of innovation. I mean, they're so good. They've done so much over the years. It's probably hard to keep coming up with new things, but it wouldn't surprise me if they don't get down to the X's and O's of it. And maybe we see a couple of little wrinkles here and there outside of, potential personnel changes.
I think the 3 or 4 first games, it was more about execution. We saw bobblings of passes, even some zone entry issues. So that isn't so much. So those struggles at that time, I think, isn't a reflection of the plan. It's about carrying out the plan. So that's a pretty good one. And I do think that teams will start to continue to go behind and put pressure behind Bouchard carrying the puck up. I believe that is disruptive. I don't know why more teams don't do it. Try to disrupt that zone entry.
2 more, Zoobs.
Okay. Paulie says, I want to focus on the first part of this late entry for Escas. When do we see Philp? Of course, Noah Philp. Do you think that's something on the radar to inject a little energy at some point for all he brought in the preseason?
Yeah, so played 3 games in the American League so far. He's got a couple of assists. I know people are clamoring for him. My instinct is January, February. And I know that's way later than a lot of people are going to want. But unless things are absolutely cratering here and they have significant issues, I think they want this guy to play and play a lot and come up and stay when he comes up. So I'm not sure that we're going to see up, down, up, down, up, down with every single injury that happens. I'm not sure he's going to be that guy. I could be wrong here. My sense is because of last season, they want this guy to play and play a ton, Struds.
Yeah, and we heard the coach say that, right? Knobloch said that. He's going to go down for a while. I believe those are his words, not mine. A while is in 3 weeks. So I'm excited about what he could bring to this team for sure. But I don't know that he's going to be the fix for the power play or the top 6's inability to score right now, 5-on-5. Like, I don't think that's his area. So let's get that sorted out if I was Knobloch. Then we'll look at some other areas of the lineup.
Okay, last one from Penner's Pancakes when we were talking about whether or not to keep McDavid and Draisaitl together on a line. He says no to 29 and 97 on the same line. Only after a PK, then they can match up with a weaker line. They both need to drive their own line. This is similar to how I personally feel. Would you agree or disagree broadly with this strategy?
I like when they put them out there together after a penalty kill. They've both been sitting on the bench. Neither's part of the penalty killing unit. And generally the other team's most offensive players, top end guys are tired, Struds. That's one situation. I'm fine if he keeps doing that.
Yeah, I like that. And it gives a little energy to the bench, a little juice. But they're both super talented players. And when you have them on 2 different lines, the matchup is a challenge. And I think that's important to, just as a D-man. I'd rather them both be on the same line because I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to see him all night if I'm the second or third, or it's unlikely I'll see him as a third pairing, especially the third pairing. Now I'm getting the Oilers' other 3 lines, which, just no disrespect to those guys. They don't have the same talent level as those 2 guys do.
All right, that was Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Mortgages by Maria Gallus. Highly recommend you give her a call. Tell her that Got Your Back sent you if you need any mortgage advice whatsoever. Should we get that poll updated, Zuby? Where did we land? But I don't like the feeling of this for me.
Let's wrap up the poll. Hey, there's a nice comment here, and this is J-Dog says, Shogger, you won't win the poll, but I voted to do a round on the sim with you. Then we can drive out to Brownie's cabin. I got to say, I think Brownie crushed all of us. He sold it like so well that
Yeah, but you also the choices like a Subway with Struds or a party with Brownie. Like everyone wants to party.
I didn't think Brownie was going to sell it like that. I didn't think he was going to go crazy selling it. I think he took votes away from all of us. So he was the runaway winner. The question was, which Got Your Back fan experience would you bid on at an auction? One Wild Night at Brownie's cabin, running away with it at 51%. Subway with Struddy, 28%. Tankards with Zuby and Steve, 11%. And Play Around on the Sim with Shogger, 9%. 127 votes. Ooh. Thanks.
I lost to you and Steve-O. That's awesome. What about if I have beer in the sim? What if I have tankards in the sim? Would that have changed anything?
I think you could have. Pumped it up. Made sure you were playing Pebble Beach.
I love it. And now with your newfound fame, Zuby, people are going to be flocking to have tankards with you and Steve-O. All right, time to wrap up with our play of the day, brought to you by Gallery Dental. From air polisher cleanings to advanced treatments, Gallery Dental offering that full range of services to keep the smile healthy and beautiful. Their experienced team is dedicating to providing personalized care with the latest technology, giving you the best treatment possible. Contact GalleryDentalYEG.com. Struddy, what do you like for the play of the day tonight, my man?
Special moment in Winnipeg. The Brian Little, longtime Jet, signed a one-day contract, and was able to go and just say goodbye to the fans. Hadn't played for there for a while, but he was a member of the Thrashers, came over with the Jets, hadn't played for him for 3-4 years, but he was able to say goodbye. And I love when teams do that. I know it doesn't appeal to Oilers fans or any other fan other than Winnipeg, but for a player to go out and say goodbye, and for the plans to say goodbye to him for his almost 900 games for that franchise, I love when franchises do this. It means so much to players and their families.
Great one. Love it. Fantastic. That was our play of the day, brought to you by Gallery Dental. Well, Struds, we don't normally award first, second, third star of the pod tonight, but between your Rodney Dangerfield, your Gandalf the Great or whatever, 2 impressions in one podcast, buddy, you're going to win the day every day. Nice job tonight, buddy.
Thank you. Tied for first. I'll take it. Thank you. With Ben Brown.
Zuby, great work tonight. Great work tonight, buddy. Thank you very much for joining us here on the live stream. For those of you that did or downloading us in podcast form, I look forward to chatting a bunch more this week. Oilers in action, Tuesday? They've got the Carolina Hurricanes. We'll drop a podcast after that. And then Sidney Crosby in town later this week. So lots of great shows coming up in the days ahead. Big thanks to all of our sponsors, including our title sponsor, Play Alberta. Have a great finish to your Sunday night or a great Monday, and we'll talk again real soon. See ya.